Fourth crosstown shootout. You've been here for a while now. What's your take on the series and the build up and is there any? Do you wish there was anything you could do about the week off? It feels like it always comes right after or right like during finals week.
Yeah, it's like I've always said, it's one of the best rivalries in college sports, and this is a sports town. Like I've thought that before I came here. Now I feel like a Cincinnatian, and this is one of the best sports towns in the United States, and college basketball is a big part of that, and this game's a big part of that. So that's become more clear. You think that from a distance, but it's been more clear living here. What was the next question?
Having the game always kind of fall right after the end of finals week, where you're not allowed to play a game during finals.
We
week,
tried.
are you?
We tried to schedule a game Tuesday with a Howard game. Well, we actually scheduled it Tuesday, but was retroactively told that we couldn't do that, so we had to go back. And Kenny Blakeney was really kind because we moved it once to try to play on Tuesday night because we haven't done that. It's just a long time between games this time of year, but the university didn't feel right about doing that during finals, so we played on Sunday.
They used to do the big thing down at the Skyline downtown. You were there last year. The city used to have, in addition to that, a party, and the mayors would be there. And it was like a week-long festive deal. Is it safe to say you would just soon be in the gym?
I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. As I remind our players and our staff all the time, there's responsibilities that come with the positions that we're in. I accept my responsibilities. If it's to show up to an event, I'm going to gladly be there and represent the university the right way. And I expect the same thing from our players. So when there's things that we need to do within our roles, we're going to do them. And if those things are canceled, then we're just going to move on to the next thing.
We've had some weird things happen in this series. Trayvon Blewett scoring like 30 points and a half. Jaron Cumberland, Quincy Oliveri last year. Does it feel like this is entering the realm of you can prepare all you want, but this series is just basically crazy and you never really know what's going to happen?
I just think any very competitive game is going to have things. You can prepare as much as you want to prepare for any game, but when you get into a competitive game, big time players, rise up, make big time plays, and things happen. And I wouldn't say that's singular to any one game or another one, but in big time games and big time environments, unexpected things can happen. And part of the work that you do all summer, all fall, all year is to prepare for dealing with those kind of moments, even though you might not know what they are.
Ryan Conwell is a guy that you're familiar with from the Indiana State game. How have you seen him utilized within Xavier's offense?
Hey, he's one of the best shooters in college basketball. We played against him twice last year. Played against him in a preseason scrimmage, and we played against him when he was at South Florida. So it's been neat to see that young man's progression. He's as good of a shooter as we have in college basketball, and he's not just a shooter; he's a complete player. And I thought at Indiana State, I thought that all three coaches that have coached him have let him play with freedom and confidence. I'm sure he's earned that in the practices, but I thought Brian Gregory did a nice job with him as a young player, and then obviously they did a great job with him at Indiana State last year, and then they're doing the same thing this year at Xavier. But he plays with a ton of confidence. His shooting is, again, as good as anybody in the country, and then he does a lot more than that. He moves well without the ball. He's got the ball in his hands a lot more in decision-making situations. He's a terrific player.
Zach Fremantle has been really, really good for them so far this season. They're using him probably more at the 5 than they wanted to with the Traore injury. How do you handle a guy like that that's versatile enough to kind of beat you in different ways, playing in that 5 spot where he can pick, he can pop, he can post you up, he can do a lot of different things offensively?
Yeah, he's a terrific player. Obviously an old and experienced player, so he's been through his fair share of battles in college basketball. But it'll be a difficult matchup for us for sure. And, there's physicality. There's like the inside-outside. You see him picking and popping and shooting more. So, you know, he obviously does a terrific rebounder. There's a lot to prepare for there. We're gonna have to get our butts in gear.
Do you expect to see 100% of what Dan Skillings is capable of in this game on Saturday?
You know, I've said this to Dan and certainly said it to every. And it's just the way we approach it anyway, guys. I mean, you know, it's about today. We got practice here this afternoon, and you know, the first goal was to do what we can to improve in practice and work to our standard. But Dan's coming off an injury. You know, for me to think about what he's going to look like on Saturday is a waste of my dang time. You know, I thought it was really important that he got those minutes and you know, got into a real game to kind of knock some of the dust off and get some confidence in his body. And I thought he did that Sunday. And you know, we held him out of practice yesterday for no reason other than precautionary. And you know, we'll practice here today, and you know, he'll be full go, full steam ahead, and then we'll kind of see how he feels tomorrow. But you know, trying to project 4 or 5 days out when he's just in the beginning of his, you know, return to 5-on-5 everyday activity. I mean, he's been in a return to play for weeks now, but now he's in that, you know, full green means go process of his return to play. We'll just take it one day at a time.
Talked about Tyler Betsy having that foot issue before Alabama State. Looked like he might have re-aggravated it on Sunday. Do you have an update on where he stands? Is he fully healthy?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he had a little discomfort in the game, and then came out and said he was good and went back in. I thought he looked fine. He looked fine yesterday in practice. It's, you know, scans, MRIs. We've done the whole thing, and you know, everything's intact and everything looks good there. So it's like a soft tissue discomfort thing, but nothing serious. And you know, again, him practicing every day and continuing to put days together. When he's done that, he's played well beyond his years as a freshman, and we certainly know how talented he is. So it's important he's back in the gym putting days together, and he did that yesterday, and my expectation is he'll do that again today.
You answered this in past years, I'm sure, but the intensity and uniqueness of this rivalry, you know, Duke, North Carolina, you had another shot, if not 2 other shots at him. This is a one-off.
Yeah, you know, and I think people in this community understand it, you know. So, you know, if somebody from outside this community wants to hear about it, I'll tell them. But I mean, the people in this community understand, you know, the nature of this game, and certainly I do now after living here for 3.5 years.
Back on the scheduling thing, you've got 6 days between your Howard and Xavier, and then another 6 days between Xavier and Dayton. Do you think the Big 12, now that you're going to 20 league games, you're doing it in 10 weeks, do you think the league maybe needs to look at doing what some of these conferences that are playing 20 games and sneak in a conference game or 2 early in December or middle of December, so that you actually get a bye week built in and you don't have these week-long layoffs between games?
Yeah, I certainly have opinions, but I also know my place, and we're new to the league. Cincinnati, we're new to this league and trying to earn our stripes in this league, so I'll just leave my opinions to myself.
Seems like Xavier's really
Sorry.
seems like Xavier's come out with more intensity from the start. How do you keep your guys focused on it being a full 40 minutes, not getting too high or too low within this rivalry game? Just the slow starts in general over the last couple years against Xavier. It seems like it's happened for the last 5 or 6 years. How do you keep your team focused for those full 40 minutes to come out with more intensity from the beginning?
Yeah, I just think I think our guys want to play well every night. They're going to want to play well when the ball goes up, and I think it's just about losing yourself in the moment and focus on winning the next possession. And you know, that's always been the way I've coached and tried to approach it in the position that I'm in. And you know, that's not going to. I mean, you never know if you change, but I highly doubt that ever changes. Just, hey, the ball's going to go up. Let's whatever happens when the ball goes up, let's win the next possession, and whatever happens on that, let's go win the next one. And I think when teams really embrace that mindset, you know, teams play their best basketball and players play their best basketball. A lot of people call that the zone, right? When you're in the zone, when you're not worried about anything else other than just what's happening in the moment. And you know, I think when a team just focuses on just winning the next possession, nothing else in the world in that moment matters other than that, I think that's when people have the chance to play their best basketball and teams have the best chance. And that's what we'll always preach for any game, you know. And I think it's fun when your team plays like that. And the goal is to get a team that plays like that for every possession the whole year. I hadn't seen that ever in my lifetime at any level of sport. But the teams that can do it, the most consistent, are usually the teams that have the most success, and that's what we're working for when we go in the gym for practice today.
Wes, Dylan has played in some big-time games, obviously playing in the Big 12 over the last 2 years, playing in those type rivalry games heading into Saturday. He hasn't played in this one yet. Talk about how important it is to have a veteran and his leadership abilities heading into a tough contest like this on Saturday.
Yeah, I just think, when you look at our roster and you look at all the guys that have experience in big games, and in these Power 5 leagues, and in March and the end of the season. I mean, I think all that kind of stuff is just really valuable. And Dylan's an example of a guy that's been an experienced player by the time he got here, and I think that has value. I think there's other guys that have gotten that experience here, other places, and I think that adds value to our team for sure.
Chisholm last year seemed unfazed by the atmosphere. How do you get the other guys to do that?
Again, I think, my focus is practice today, guys. We get to the next game, it'll be about trying to win the next possession, and everybody, just doing everything they can to focus and play with great effort and win the next possession. I think we have really good players. I think we have mature players, experienced players, and with the right mindset, I think they have the opportunity to all play well, no matter what the circumstances are, what the game is.
Going back to starting fast, after the last game against Howard, you talked about, keeping the switch flipped on. Is there any kind of message this week in practice to make sure that switch is always flipped on in this game?
That's the message all the time, and I think our players understand it. Again, we have such a terrific group of guys. They want it, right? They want to be great. They want to have great team success. They want to have great individual success. And like all of us, they're trying to learn how to do better. And they've had great moments. Like I look at, where we started to where we are. We've had some terrific moments and a lot that gives us hope and excitement. And generally in those moments, our mentality or, our focus or our effort, and I've, used a metaphor of a light switch, it's on, generally. And generally when our moments haven't been to that standard, and they ain't been that bad, but when they haven't been to that standard, generally it's not on to that degree, to use the metaphor. And so that's something we've been preaching, we'll continue preaching, and I think our guys, they buy into that, but learning how to do it all the time consistently. Again, it's my job as a coach. That's why I'm here, guys. I mean, if they didn't need to be pushed, if they didn't need to be taken to another level, then we wouldn't have jobs as coaches. They wouldn't need us. So we got a terrific group. They work, guys. If you guys came, I think you guys will be at practice today, but if you guys came to practice every single day, you'd be really proud of the team in terms of how they work to represent this program in this city. So yeah, do I want more and more and more? Heck yeah. But shoot, guys, they could win 70 straight games, and I'd still want more and more and more. And that's what we'll be preaching in practice today.
Couple more.
You talked about the Georgia Tech game after that game that you practice less than you have usually in your tenure here. Are you back to the normal practice plan that you are used to, and are you seeing it pay dividends?
We will be. We are this week. Yeah, we're kind of back to normal this week, but and I think that's important. We got to make sure that we can do that as consistent. You got to practice to be really good. Now you can't go the wrong way and overdo it, but we're trying to get back to being able to do the things that we prefer to do on an everyday basis in terms of practice and development and the work and all that. And again, our guys haven't resisted that at all, but we made some choices a couple weeks ago just with some stuff going on health-wise, and but hopefully we're back to normal throughout the course of this week.
On a lighter note, this week, are you putting CMOS in bubble wrap when walking across the street?
Yeah, just all those drivers out there, be careful. Don't run over anybody. That's what I should say. If anybody in this community is listening to me, and I'll talk to my dang self, don't look at your phone while you're driving, and you got to take your own advice sometimes, and pay attention to the road and all that. But if you're going to hit somebody, please don't hit one of my damn players. Okay, that type of thing. but I don't want anybody to get hit, for gosh sakes. Shoot, if somebody's got to get hit, hit me. I don't have to play. I don't have to play in any games. But thank you guys.